I have a question. Can you actually drink in your 40s? What's it like to drink in your 40s?
Like drink alcohol?
Yeah, alcohol.
Brutal. Yeah. Get loose. Hello and welcome to the Forties Formula, your go-to place for insightful discussions on navigating your 40s and thriving in this transformative decade.
We're your hosts, Amanda and Jasmin, two women that are passionate about exploring the challenges and adventures that come with turning 40 and what lies ahead.
Jasmin Dillon is a certified nutritional health coach and mother of three who has been coaching women to lose weight following on from her lifelong struggles with her own body and health. Having dealt with Hashimoto's, estrogen dominance, and hitting menopause at 36, Jasmin went on a journey to heal her body and help other women like her along the way. Despite having a background in finance and law, Jasmin's real passion lies in health and nutrition.
Amanda L. Lim is the certified health coach, director of Singapore-based metabolic health centre, The Lift Clinic, and mother of three. With 18 years of experience in the wellness industry, she currently works with over 100 clients per week on fitness, nutrition, and behaviour change. Amanda has consulted for major companies such as Disney, Google, Channel News Asia, and Temasek Holdings, and contributed to global publications such as Shape Magazine and The Straits Times. Her years of publishing and practicing weight loss, prenatal and postpartum fitness and nutrition planning have made her an in-demand wellness expert in Southeast Asia and beyond. So Amanda, somebody asked us, how did we get into this? How did we decide to come up with a podcast called the Forties Formula?
I mean, that's a really good question because I feel like the real impetus was one day at coffee, two nutritionists sitting down, shooting the shit, realizing we had a lot more in common than we realized.
And we just thought, shall we do it? Shall we really do this? And we did.
And we did. And guys, you've been listening to the fruits of our labor this entire season long on the Forties Formula. But what I think is really cool about our journeys is that they are very dissimilar, even though we ended up in what you might think of as a similar place.
Definitely. Amanda was the athletic kid and I was the fat kid.
Best friends. But I think what's cool about being the fat kid that, I never experience, let's say, is the fact that you really got to overhaul and transform. I always say with my brand that I'm working on transforming people, right? I'm giving them the tools to transform and change and overhaul. But to be fair, I can't say that I've really ever had that journey myself other than postpartum transformation, right? And that's a natural thing that we all go through, right? I think it's really cool that you took that upon yourself. You initiated that journey for yourself and you took it to where you are today professionally.
Thank you. It wasn't an easy journey because it always starts off as a fat loss journey. I went through this phase where I just wanted to be skinny. And sometimes when I look back at posts and things which say, let's get skinny, I want to be skinny, I think, shit, what was I thinking? Because it's not about being skinny.
It makes my skin crawl, girl. Like I'm getting a goosebump.
It's always about being strong. And it was only when I decided that I wanted to change my health and I wanted to change my mindset did changes actually happen.
Yeah. How did you realize that nutrition was the key? Because I feel like that's actually something that I arrived at very late in the game.
Oh, that's such a difficult question. I really don't know. I feel like I was always dieting. And I guess after the twins were born, those late night feedings led me to do a lot of research. And then the more I researched, I fell into this rabbit hole and I realized, shit, protein's not going to kill me. Yeah. It's going to make me stronger.
Yeah. Oh, girl. And it's funny that you say about the late night feedings, like being your rabbit hole toward information. Take that lesson, mamas. Okay. Don't be like me and do all your online shopping while you're night feeding. Be like Jasmin and go learn something. Okay.
So what about you, Amanda?
Well, for me, it was more like, again, this is my lifelong calling. I always knew that I wanted to do something in health and fitness. And I was in graduate school in a medical sociology program researching obesity. That was my main focal point. And as I'm writing my master's thesis, I'm thinking to myself, this is so cool. I'm going to change the world with this information. It was about correlates of obesity, of morbid obesity for women and how they're kind of distinct from those for men. And as I'm writing this, on the side, I'm juggling a personal training gig, right? So I'm training training at the university gym. I'm taking on clients, and my business is blowing up. I'm in the gym at 5 a.m. every day with clients till 8. Then I'm in class. Then I'm a teaching assistant for, a relevant class, alternative medicine, exercise science, stuff like that is what I TA'd for. And then I realized the actual people I'm helping are the people I see at 5 in the morning. They're not the people who might potentially read my master's thesis, which, like, if you guys have done a thesis, is basically your advisor and you, and maybe your buddy, maybe your mom. At the time, I did not have my husband, so just, my mom and me. But yeah, realizing that the people I was actually helping were the people in that gym with me at 5 in the morning. My first ever client as a personal trainer was a woman who unfortunately has since deceased, but she was 68 years old and she had just come back from double hip replacement surgery. And to be honest, I now realize that my boss at the gym gave me that client because no one else wanted to take her. And they were like, hey, this new trainer, she's hungry, let's give it to her. And I took her on. Bonnie was her name. And we worked together for 2 years. And Bonnie and I went from literally rehab style workouts for a double hip replacement all the way to being able to, I'll call it shuffle run, but generously run a lap around the university gym, 400 meters nonstop.
Amazing.
And it was incredible. And I also ended up working with her husband over that time, and we reversed his type 2 diabetes through increasing his cardiovascular exercise, changing some things about his diet. And unfortunately, again, 2 years after that time, after the 2 years we worked together, I got the news from her husband that she passed away from a really aggressive form of cancer, which took her life. But the point is, I'll never forget the feeling of actually helping someone improve their quality of life from 0 to hero, from someone who could barely walk to someone and their husband who could thrive. And again, cancer aside, it was so clear that I had to change my path. So I ended up leaving what was then a PhD program. I took my master's degree. I said, that's good enough. And I went on to start my first business in LA. And that's really where the whole impetus for what I do now at Lift Clinic came from.
That's amazing. And again, it's so different to my background. I've studied law. I did a master's in law, but I'm not doing anything like that now. And it
except dropping the hammer.
And all it is now is I just want to help people who are going on this path of I've always been fat and I'm on this diet or that diet. Sometimes it's to stop dieting and actually look at what you're eating. Stop counting those calories. Like, I can have 100 grams of this cereal bar. That's 100 calories of this cereal bar. But, what nutrients is it giving you? Is it actually nourishing your body? Stop looking at what's the lowest amount of calories you can take, but look at what is the most amount of nourishment you're going to be getting.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get through that mindset and how you can eat to nourish your body and then achieve your results.
What would you say is your overarching nutritional philosophy? Like, if you could boil down the way that you practice with your clients into one or two themes, what would they be? Protein
first.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. I'm always telling people. I think when I first started on this journey, I used to focus more on the fat.
Yeah.
And I've just realized now that protein is number one, and getting that protein in and making sure that your body is getting what it needs, then you will start to see results, whether that's, you're feeling full so you're not snacking, you're helping protein muscle synthesis, you're actually nourishing your body and, using those amino acids in the way you need to, and you're not losing out on potential muscle mass that you need. And that's what's going to help you. That's most important. And I would definitely say, if you see Jasmin and I as like a Venn diagram of nutrition approaches, if Jasmin's theme is protein first, I think mine is muscle first, right? Meaning you need to build the muscle on your body to have the best shot at a healthy life. Definitely. Yeah. And protein is absolutely the dietary component of doing that. No question. Strength training, PS, spoiler alert, is the way that you do that for your body through exercise. But again, you need both guns firing on that problem 100%. To make it count. If I was to sort of put everything down into a few steps, it would be protein first, strength train, sleep. Yes. Sleep is so important. I was just on another podcast talking about sleep is the foundation of my wellness house. Again, I mean it. You could have the strongest pillar of nutrition, the strongest pillar of exercise, but if your sleep quality is trash and your sleep quantity is minimal, it will catch up with you. Definitely. None of that other stuff can save you. Yeah. And that's when, you're going to be hungrier, your hormones are going to be off whack, and things are just not going to work. Yeah. Right. So you need to focus on all three elements. It's not just, oh, I can eat right and exercise. If you're not sleeping well, you'll get fucked.
Yeah, it's so true. And again, I always bring it back. I've mentioned this several times before, but something I believe in my house is helping my kids sleep, right? And giving my kids a proper sleep hygiene routine. That is a life skill. And you see adults every day, I see them every day in my practice that just never learn to sleep, because just like eating right, just like exercising, it is a learned skill. How to wind down, clear your mind, shut your eyes, and fall asleep. Sounds simple, but it's not. It's not.
Seriously, with kids, it's not.
Yeah,
I just have to.
Any listeners out there with kids, this is not an easy journey.
I just shut the door. Good night, shut the door, I'm out.
Yeah. And off to slumberland. No, I will say these days, my kids are 3 and 2. And again, we're about to throw a newborn in the mix. And really, the importance of the sleep pattern is really the importance of the consistency and routine. So
definitely.
Whether or not they fall asleep at exactly X time every night is less concerning to me as the fact that they know what's coming. I don't have kids that argue with bedtime, because
I do.
bedtime is a fact of life. It comes upon them, and they must,
It was so nice when my kids were your kids' age, I would, obviously they'd have the shower, they'd brush their teeth, they would have a bedtime story followed by 4 songs.
Well, 4 songs.
4 songs. It was, that good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. It was that one. There was a few others in there, which I'm not going to sing because obviously I'm not going to do it. But the last song was always the Scottish national anthem. We're not Scots.
Okay. I learned something new about Jasmin on this podcast. No, not Scottish.
We're not Scottish. But we don't know how it happened, but the Scottish national anthem was part of our bedtime routine.
That is remarkable. I got to work the U.S. national anthem into our bedtime routine. My daughter always asks now, like I'm a jukebox, for the catalog of songs.
Oh, yeah?
What can you sing, Mom? I was like, well, I got 4 things. And one of them is the toothbrushing song, which they heard, already that night. But I like the Scottish national anthem. Could be worth a work in.
And now we're at the point where the boys are going to argue about going to sleep. 5 more minutes. Or if I have them, because they will share a room, it will be one of them will keep the other one awake.
Yeah.
And I have to come up the stairs at least 3 times. And I say to them, if I have to come up one more time, I'm splitting you all up. And that usually does the trick. But, it never works the best time around.
Yeah.
So they know Mummy's going to come up at least 3 times before, before she splits us.
But on that 3rd time, she's serious.
Yeah.
So don't mess around. Oh, man. Back to, like I said, now I've learned about the Scottish national anthem in your background. But something that I always wondered about you, Jasmin, is how did you kind of discover the exercise piece of the wellness equation? Because I now know how you kind of figured out nutrition for yourself, but how did you learn about strength training? Because I feel like unless I was an athlete, I don't know that I would have stumbled upon that that lifestyle.
Yeah. I think I've been exercising for years. When I was 16, I think that was when I sort of discovered the gym and I started going to the gym. But then it was like, I just burnt 100 calories on the treadmill, or I just did, 30 minutes on the cross trainer or whatever it was. But then I started seeing the weight machines and I was curious by it. And I was like, oh, this looks like fun. And the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it. And I very quickly realised I fucking hate cardio, but I love strength training.
Yeah.
So it was just a way for me to get to the gym. And I think I started training with a male friend who would then be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I would just follow him around and do what I needed to do. But again, then with the research, it was one thing, I enjoyed it. The second thing was I just started realizing that actually I wanted more muscle, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, the more carbs you can eat.
Yeah, it's a way, there's no motivation for exercise that isn't met with strength training. And I think that's like definitely something that men and women need to understand is like all of your targets will be improved with strength training, whatever it may be.
And now I just want to be strong. I want to be able to deadlift a certain weight. I know. And my goal is just to improve. There's no goal of I'm doing it because I want to look a certain way. It's just, I just want to be better than I am now.
Yeah, I hear that. And it's hard, again, now that we are in our 40s and everything is telling you that you're on the decline.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to conceptualize yourself still as an athlete who can improve.
Yeah.
But I will say, there are definitely new things to be learned. I consider learning something new an improvement, even if, let's say, my mile pace isn't as fast as it used to be, or even I can't lift as much as I used to. But if I can learn how to handstand walk this year, that's pretty kick-ass. And
That is fucking awesome.
that's an improvement in a way that maybe, like I said, it's not going to be a strength victory this year, but maybe it's a new skill or a new level of mobility. I mean, for people that can't touch their toes, once you actually hit the floor for the first time, the thing about my lovely husband, and he's like, dang, this works.
Do you know what I want to do, which I'm trying to do now, is I want to sit down and get up without using my hands.
From the floor.
From the floor.
This
Sorry,
is
I don't
a
mean
real
the
thing,
chair.
guys. It's like a real test.
So things like this, it's little goals like this is what I set myself.
Yeah.
And I think, right, that's my next goal. That's what I want to try and do.
Yeah.
And these are things that will help sort of with longevity and, movement as you get older.
Yeah.
And if you are able to do that, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Probably not right now.
I mean, again, this is about the least mobile, sitting here almost 9 full months pregnant that I could ever be in my life. But I can definitely get down from a kneel to a stand.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not too bad with an extra 17 kg of straight up baby.
Yeah.
It's good times.
How big is the baby right now?
It should be, we're going to go in tomorrow and get the scan, but should be around 2.8 kgs by now. Yeah. Because there's only 3 weeks to go. And, they say about 200 grams per week. So we're looking at almost full baked.
Amanda, most people say get your sleep in when the baby sleeps. Now, obviously, sleep is important, but you've got 2 young kids as well. How are you going to sleep?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I mean, I just give up on sleep regularity and consistency in the first month of postpartum because it's not a useful metric. The necessity to feed your baby at that time around the clock takes precedence over everything. So your sleep goes out the window. What I will say is I do start sleep training, quote unquote, around the 2-week mark. And I know that sounds ridiculous because you can't sleep train a 2-week-old baby. But what I mean is I start making intentional moves toward a schedule at 2 weeks. So the baby leaves our room. So the first 2 weeks he's in a bassinet next to me. Then at 2 weeks onward, he goes into his own room. From then onward, we start to stretch the feeding windows a bit. From then onward. So the point is I do have a pathway out of my sleeplessness, but it's not
for a while.
Quick. It's usually about 3 months is when things start feeling normal again. And again, normal is a relative term.
How quickly after having the baby do you get back into sort of your exercise routine?
Okay, take this with a grain of salt, listeners, because this is, you're speaking to someone who's been an athlete for 25 years, right? So this is a little bit of a different pathway. But I will say with my C-section, I was able to get into the gym in the sense of putting dumbbells in my hands at 4 weeks. Still wearing my corset, my binder, and still obviously taking care of my scar and not doing any core, but at that time. And then with my vaginal birth, my second baby, I was able to get back at 2 weeks.
Amazing.
And that was remarkable. And it definitely highlighted to me the difference between those two birth patterns of having major surgery and going through a natural birth and how those could be very different outcomes. But do not take that, ladies, as any sort of admonition to get back in the gym at that time. Remember that the gym is my life. It's my lifestyle. It's something I have done regularly as brushing my teeth for, again, over 2 decades. So for me to get back in the gym is just a euphemism for, brushing my teeth or getting in the shower for some people. What I will say is to get back to performance level. So to get back to where I would have been earlier last year before I got pregnant, that's more of a 6-month thing. Yeah. To get where I could be competitive again. Yeah. Months.
I think I went back to the gym at 6 weeks after the twins were born.
Yeah, that's
but all body
already
weight.
an accelerated timeline. By the way, yeah, most people is 12 weeks for like really putting on, lifting weights.
Oh, I wasn't lifting. It was all. I was carrying shitloads of weight. Yeah. It was all body weight.
Yeah. And again, there's no one timeline for sure, but it is a good feeling. There's nothing like. Paul, listen closely here. There's for your future partner. There's nothing like the feeling of giving birth. I mean, obviously, but meaning walking out of the hospital that first time without the baby there, meaning just back in your body that is only yours, that only you own. There is nothing like that in the world. That is a feeling I can't even put into words. And again, then when you get back in the gym with that body, whew. Nothing can stop you.
Do you know what I loved, actually, when I first went back to the gym? There was this really nice cafe called Pickleville, which no longer exists, and I'm really gutted.
This is in Singapore?
This
Pickleville?
was in Pickleville.
All right. Pickleville.
Everything was, no, but yeah, everything was pickled, and I used to get this like really nice bowl. It was like salmon, and then you can choose your pickles. So I remember it was like cabbage and the carrots and all of this stuff, and I was like, oh, that used to be my incentive to go work out because I can go get my pickle bowl.
Pickleville. Oh, I love it. I mean, that actually sounds like a great model. So guys, bring back Pickleville. Okay,
Yeah,
that's one of the enduring messages of this podcast.
I loved it.
That sounds amazing. But I guess, maybe one last thing to leave our listeners with on this Getting to Know You episode is, what's something that no one would expect from you as a wellness professional? So with the condition of like, I'm a healthy person, but just so you know, XYZ, what's your secret?
Oh, geez, that's really, really fucking hard. So my brother will always take a photo of me if he's around and I've had some chips. And he'll be like, keto,
trans fats.
Yeah, like keto with Jasmin eating chips. I'm like, yeah, but I'm no longer keto and I can eat this if I want to. I don't know if I've got a really dirty little secret. But even like I had cake for breakfast this morning.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
But it was after my protein. So I did have, so just so you guys know, I didn't share that, but I did have protein first. So, it wasn't too bad. And also it was a sugar-free chocolate cake. So, I don't know. I feel like all the dirty little bits are out of me now. It's just like, it doesn't exist anymore. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't think there is anything.
Yeah. I think for me, people are always surprised to know that I love and treasure and savor craft beer.
Okay.
Craft beer
I'm not a beer person.
is my favorite thing in the world. And while I definitely am up to date on the research about alcohol, and I really do try to limit consumption, and obviously while pregnant, I haven't smelled a beer probably in like 10 months. But it's something that I truly enjoy and love. So I will say that when this baby is out and when I want to have a little bit of a celebration time, I'm going to find myself a beautifully made beer here in Singapore and enjoy every drop.
I've heard it, but my husband always tells me about beer. I'm just like, I don't get it. Doesn't do anything for me. I recently had a cocktail, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Get loose.
But otherwise, I think my biggest vice is probably coffee.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't drink it after 12.
But that's such a healthy person vice. That's such a healthy person thing to say.
And the worst thing is I don't drink it after 12 because then I can't sleep. Yeah. So, give me all the coffee before 12 o'clock and then we're done.
And then my one cocktail per month.
Yeah. I like champagne. But even then, I feel like if I drink too much, I won't sleep. Sorry, guys, I sound really boring. Oh, my God. No one's going to like me after this.
Yeah. You can still be cool in your 40s, guys.
I do like chocolate.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I do feel like there's definitely this understanding that healthy people never indulge or never, put toxins in their body like alcohol, like sugar. And of course, that's not the case.
I do. I definitely do. But I just don't. I don't get shit-faced.
Yeah.
I have coffee very occasionally after 3.
I have a question. Can you actually drink in your 40s? Like, what's it like to drink in your 40s?
Like drink alcohol?
Yeah, alcohol.
Brutal. Answer is, it is a brutal wake-up call. I mean, the reality is that your body is less and less efficient at processing alcohol the older that you get. Age does you no favors in this regard. And just like anything else, right? If your body is less efficient at burning fat, for example, particularly after menopause, if your body has, a little bit less muscle on it, you are not as metabolically active as you used to be, and alcohol is going to hit you harder, and you will feel the impact.
Also, daytime drinking is probably the only way you can get around it. Do not drink at night, people.
Yeah.
Just go for a brunch.
Yeah, very, very true. It will ruin your sleep quality.
Yeah.
And then it will. Yeah,
and I think it
havoc.
just really depends on the individual person. And I mean, my husband is quite happy drinking in the evening. I don't like it because I don't like the way it affects my sleep. Again, I sound super boring. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But again, I will say, just like anything else, I'm a big believer of everything in moderation. My husband is a physician, and he is very much of the kind kind of zero tolerance on alcohol. He's like, if you are trying to truly optimize your health, the first thing to eliminate, besides cigarettes, right? Which cigarettes are, I guess, the absolute killer because they don't even provide nutritive content, right? Right below that is your alcohol. And he's like, if you're serious about your health, you got to let it go. And I'm there. I'm in the research with him. But what I will say is that I do think this is one area where I personally choose to have a bit more freedom and take the risks and choices that are associated with that.
I know how bad it is, but if I'm having steak, I do want to have some red wine with it. You know?
Oh, girl, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This post is sponsored by the Meat Club. Oh, but yeah, no, it's really true. That's the example I always use actually with my husband is like we bought this beautiful bottle of wine in Napa years ago, and then we keep pushing off when we're going to drink it, right? Oh, it's going to be for when the baby's born or when COVID's over, or we keep pushing, and now it's to the point where he really doesn't drink anymore. So I'm like, this is so sad. Like I'm going to be alone with our beautiful wine and this beautiful steak, and Tyler's going to be having kombucha. Yeah, but he doesn't mind, but yeah, that's one of my all-time pleasures.
And so, like, I always get, I'm going to do dry January. And I'm like, well, you don't need to do dry January because what you're going to end up doing is go fucking crazy in February.
February 1st.
Yes. Yeah. So just have it when you need it or want it, but don't go fucking overboard.
Yeah. And I think that, kind of brings it full circle to a perspective that you and I both share, right? So we both share, the emphasis on protein for our clients, the emphasis on strength training. And I think, and again, an approach that has moderation. And I think what we also look at is what is the lifestyle, long-term, longevity-based fix? Not what is the quick fix, the short-term, the detox, the cleanse. What is the actual thing that you want to do with your life that will make a difference in the long term? And again, dry January never saved anybody from alcoholism. Actually, I don't know that. We can look into that. But let's say that's probably not the traditional pathway that leads people into better habits, right? These short-term fixes often have these bounce backs and rebound periods. So,
definitely.
I think what we agree upon in both of our approach is that it has to be sustainable for it to even have an impact in your life.
Definitely. And whatever is sustainable for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's sustainable for me may not be sustainable for you. You just have to find what works. Thanks, guys.
And so, guys, that's about it for us today. We were just hoping that you could learn a little bit more about our backgrounds, how we came into the nutrition field, why we do the work that we do, and how we became close friends.
Yep. And, if you guys want to find out any more about us, you can always log on to our Instagram, which is Coach Amanda Lim, and at Eat with Jasmin. Oh, no, hold on. It's at eat.with.jasmin.
Yes. And I'm at Coach Amanda Lim.
So, guys, we'll see you later on in the year for season 2.
Can't wait.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
And contributed to global publications such as Shape magazine and the Straits Times. Her years of I fucked it up. Oh, do you know what I need to do? I don't know if I'm dyslexic, let me paragraph it.
Yeah, totally.